Hey everybody, welcome back. We've got some more phenomenal tournament coverage for you today. We've got the top 8 of the PizzaBox Open Explore event that just happened this past Sunday, October 23rd. We've got some commentary with HamHawks42 and MTG Joe. You can find all the links to their description as well as links to the deck list for this event in the description below. Let's jump into some games.
Greasefang versus Greasefang. Azorius Control versus Mono Green Aggro. It's the Stompy version. They're going Stompy Stomps.
Let's go.
Triple Great Henge. And then, so 3 Greasefang decks in the top 8 against Mono Blue Spirits is our last matchup. So, Planeswalker version of Mono Green Stompy, 3 Greasefangs, Azorius Control Spirits, and 1 Rakdos Midrange. So, Rakdos Midrange was the most represented deck coming into the tournament. I believe there was 25 copies, of which only 1 made it in.
Holy
and
cow.
we've progressively been seeing that win rate drop. When I was checking earlier today, it was above 60% going into the top 8. It's at 53.7.
And I'm really surprised by that. If you had asked me prior to this tournament, what is going to be the deck of the top 8, like what's the story going to be, I absolutely would have guessed Rakdos midrange. Because in our last Explorer tournament, which is a number of weeks ago now, like Rakdos midrange was just the hotness. It was on top, no question. And like it wasn't even close. Like there were some Greasefang decks, they were putting up a fight, but it wasn't like this. Like we see today, Greasefang definitely came back for vengeance. And Mono Green also, they're 2 different versions, both of which crack the top 8. That's really impressive.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
and the thing is with Rakdos, you have pretty much all the tools to answer the meta. It's what you bring packing into the 15. And then some of those flex slots in the main. Like this Rakdos version, 3 Tenacious Underdogs main. List play and Pioneer, maybe 1. Only a single Croxa. They're doing a split 1 Kalidas, 1 Shieldred. Meathook Massacre main, Bedevil main. So some main board answers, a little bit more flexible to hit the Greasefang decks. A little bit more grind value. And this version's on 3 Chandras. So out of the decks, most of them in Pioneer have moved off Chandra altogether. Chandra Torch of Defiance. This one's on 3. So looking for more of that card advantage, grind value. But we see Karn come down here, and Karn's going digging.
Oh, yeah.
What are you guessing? I'm guessing Boat.
I think Boat's a fine choice here. I love the 2 Meteor Golems in the sideboard. That's some interesting tech. One of the nice things about these mono green lists is they ramp so hard, especially with things like the Great Henge, and you have 8 1-drop dorks and Mystic and Llanowar Elves. Like you have so much mana lying around, you can afford to grab a 7-drop out of the sideboard. Henge is pretty nice. It's tough to argue with the Great Henge.
It's a little risky seeing the deck list main board of Braid, or no, just Bedevil, no Braid.
Yeah.
But going with the Henge there. So there is a card in the sideboard. I'm not sure if you're familiar. The Pestilence Cauldron, kind of the bulk rare of
from Strixhaven. Yeah, I do remember the Pestilence Cauldron. As somebody who loves janky brews, you give me some weird artifact that could, somehow put together just crazy value out of nowhere. I'm a fan. I'm not saying it's good, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, some interesting tech here.
In this deck, it's actually an infinite combo. So you need 15, I think, mana.
Okay.
You need a Kiora and a Karn in your graveyard, and a Kiora and Karn on board. Basically, the backside of the artifact, Restorative Burst, can be cast and fetched with Karn because the front side's an artifact. So you basically keep shuffling copies of Karn and Kiora. The new Karn can get it from exile, and you basically net extra mana. You gain infinite life, infinite mana. These decks will usually play a way to generate 1 black mana somewhere through the deck. In Pioneer, it's usually Sylvian Caryatid or an Overgrown Tomb. And then you mill your opponent out. So it's a lot harder in Explore because you don't Nykthos, so you can't just untap.
Sure.
But it's a card that you got to be quick to click on Arena, probably.
I can imagine. Yeah, because timers are a factor. Yeah. But I got to be honest, I love that. That sounds incredible. Yeah. So whole mess of clicks, but man, yeah.
We see the Bedevil hit it coming out, the one of in this matchup.
Yeah, they actually had it, which, usually I think in these open deck list tournaments, it's easy to get hung up on a one of, especially a main deck one of. But at the end of the day, you can't really play around them. You have to play your game and try to line things up. But at the end of the day, that one of Bedevil showed up in just the right moment. However, having the other Lovestruck Beast allows the first Lovestruck Beast that was able to survive that Meat Hook Massacre earlier, basically, come back online. It is now going to get group blocked here by the Hive of the Eye Tyrant and the 2 Spirits. So the original Lovestruck Beast has been knocked out. Meat Hook Massacre triggers a handful of times here. But with another Cavalier of Thorns in hand, our mono green player's probably feeling pretty good right now.
Yeah, just another threat. Can't be fatal pushed. Even if it dies, comes back. Can't Chandra minus doesn't hit it. There's insulation against a Lily minus. This mono green deck is a big thorn in the side.
Exactly.
Of this Rakdos deck.
And you're exactly right. And one of the things about green in general is it really, like in my observation anyway, it seems to really thrive in metas where things are super low to the ground. Because you have, all of a sudden a 5-drop 5/6. It dodges Fatal Push. It dodges so many it dodges like Sky Sovereign, the 3 damage. Like that doesn't, it shrugs that off. It doesn't care. It's so much removal within the format, just can't deal with it because people are playing the most efficient removal, and as a result, tends to be more narrow than some of the other options. And so as a result, you can, it can come home like that. It's kind of neat to see.
What's the best part of this deck? You only have 4 cards to sideboard.
That is pretty sweet. Yeah, it makes it very
Your options are,
yeah.
Do I want to play Questing Beast? Do I want to play the 3-drop protect Hexproof from Black? Yes or no? Switch accordingly. If not, I'm kind of surprised. I don't think they brought it in. It gets around Fatal Push, Heartless Axe, the Devil, stuff like that. Opting to keep the Lovestruck Beasts in, which, while a larger creature, can be easily kind of managed.
Mm-hmm.
Out of the Rakdos side, they do have 2 Invoke Despairs, which can be decent against the answering a Planeswalker and a creature, while a creature is likely just going to be a token. 2 Extinction Event, also a big card in this matchup, dealing with all these larger creatures. Mm-hmm. Anger of the Gods likely won't come in, won't hit that much, but we have Soul Shatter, Baleful Mastery, in addition coming in, and likely we'll see the copies of a Parade just to deal with whatever artifact gets tutored by Karn.
Absolutely. Yeah, when you have a Karn Wishboard, and you have artifact removal in the sideboard, you bring it on in. That's, for sure. But now here we have a Wolf Willow Haven coming down, so they are now, they're ramping, so they're going to have Karn or Old Growth Troll next turn comfortably. Yeah. Meanwhile, the opponent, the Rakdos player, is setting up with a Bloodtithe Harvester and a Fable the Mirror Breaker, which, that's not a bad turn 2, turn 3 action.
They just needed a Thoughtseize on 1 for the perfect curve.
Exactly. It's the only thing they're missing. Yep, OGT coming down. That makes sense.
Our mono green player had the option of turn 3 Karn here, but with 5 power on board, it's not really worth it. We can see Nissa come down, which, if it could survive, will lead to quite a large turn following it, letting you really just take advantage of dropping a Karn and playing potentially whatever you get from it in the same turn.
Yeah, absolutely. So a Rakdos player choosing to attack, creating the treasure token, and then before blockers were declared, sacrificing it to trigger Revolt to get Old Growth Troll out of here.
Nice clean 1 mana answer.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was about as good a setup as you can get. And here comes Graveyard Trespasser as well. Nothing in the yard to chow down on, but it's a 3/3 ward, so that's
notably
very real.
Castle mana cannot be used to cast these Planeswalkers. So while they have 4, 5, 7 mana for creatures, they can only use really 3 of it in this matchup. And they can't even float it to do a split of Karn and Old Growth here.
Yeah, which is unfortunate. Yeah, that is actually a big downside of Castle Garenbrig that's easy to overlook. Because I know when I first read it, years ago now, I guess. When I first read it, I remember looking at it. It's like, it's a land that just jumps me from 5 mana to 6 mana. But you're right, it creates 6 mana with a lot of caveats. So you have to be really careful about how you use it. And they choose to play the Old Growth Troll here. Now they have the other troll on the land ready to go. So they could theoretically make another, troll token here as well.
Yeah, the land in hand, that does still mean Nissa could come down. But we're seeing Liliana here.
Oof.
I think I do like the if they do force the sack here, make the second troll sack the token. Because now you're taking a big chunk of damage.
Yeah.
But no answer to the Kiki. They might have Pithing Needle, but at that point you're just dead to the board.
Right. Yeah, and when you're in an aggro deck, especially when your best answer isn't necessarily who shakes the world, who animates the lands, you really don't want to be in a position where your opponent has Liliana the Veil as well as the Reflection of Kiki Jiki and a Blood Tithe Harvester. Because that can just be, removing one creature a turn. And at this point, yeah, the mono green deck is going to be able to effectively get one body per turn online, and just none of them will survive. Yeah.
Yeah.
So not that the Rakdos player needed more than one more turn to end it. Yeah.
It didn't come up this match, but there is Pithing Needle should it be needed to deal with. So at 5 mana, you can Karn and Needle to get rid of the or to stop the reflection from being able to activate. While ideally you want something like Boat to just take it off the battlefield. It is a cheaper solution in a pinch.
Yeah. Yeah, Pithing Needle is one of those cards.
They're dead on board.
Right. Yeah, Pithing Needle is one of those cards. When it has a good answer, or when you're going up against planeswalkers or creatures with those abilities, it's just a nice, efficient answer that can get you what you need. Like you're saying, not the perfect thing, but does the job. And it's 1 mana. Yeah. It's colorless, no less. You can put it anywhere. Why not? All right. I mean, Llanowar Elves, Elvish Mystic, and 3 lands. Like that's a pretty. This looks to me like a pretty sweet opening hand. Yeah.
All right. I was gonna ask, Les, we got to do a Twitch poll. What's the play on 1? Llanowar Elves or Elvish Mystic?
Ooh, I appreciate that our mono green player here went with the classic Llanowar Elves. I think that's there's something to be said for that. They're both that is really.
Yeah, they might side in Meddling Mage.
Oh, I hadn't considered that. Okay. Ooh, but the Bone Crusher targeting the Mystic. Interesting. Opponent clearly more concerned about the Mystic than the Llanowar.
Did they bring in Hidetsugu?
Ooh.
Turn 3 Hidetsugu for the blow up.
That would be rough, yeah. There's another Bone Crusher. That's pretty good too.
The tap land.
Oh, brutal. Yeah, I had that moment where, land off top. It's like, oh, wait, no. Yes, the worst when you have that moment.
Okay, I just land off the top. Take.
Yeah. It's kind of the monkey paw moment, right? When you're like, okay, I just need 1 land off the top, and your deck's like, sure, you got it, but it'll be tapped. Like, no. All right. So Graveyard Trespasser versus the Llanowar Elf. It's not a favorable matchup. Ooh, but we have the upkeep stop, and here comes the Fatal Push. You can tap the Llanowar Elves for mana, but it's going to disappear before the main phase. So,
all right, Flash and Night Pack Ambusher.
There you go.
All right, land off the top, best draw.
Yeah, the land off the top is exactly what they needed.
So I think you gotta activate targeting the castle here.
Oh, sure, because your forests are just more valuable at this point. Yeah.
Yeah, and notably, if you do put the counters onto the layer, you can activate it, and then it has base power, so the counters stack on top of that. So it can kind of get people with math sometimes.
Nice. Yeah. You kind of have a built-in combat trick with the layer at that point. That's neat. I like that. But yeah, so they chose not to attack with Castle Garenbrig.
Rakdos player
Yeah, when your opponent has Nissa down, you kind of have to swing at her. I get that. Yeah, but at the same time...
This is interesting, because the thought is, if you were willing to block, it's a free attack. Just getting the 3 damage, because if your intent was to trade anyways.
Yeah, I'm wondering if... Big. Ouch, yeah. Absolutely. Again, during the upkeep, before moving to the main phase, that's relevant. Because as a result, that Storm the Festival is just dead in hand now.
And this kind of goes back to that turn. We could have had our mono green player with an untapped land cast that Nisa on 5, untapped Storm the Festival, and the game's likely a lot further ahead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the Rakdos deck prioritizing,
All right,
killing as many mana producing permanents as possible makes a lot of sense. I thought Soul Shatter was perfect. I mean, it was exactly what they needed.
yeah. All right, how many elves we seeing? At least one.
Just one. One and a Cavalier. Now, this is an interesting choice. Do you grab the Elvish Mystic, which is a creature right now, or do you grab the Forest that Nissa can animate and have tap for double? Well,
I think you have enough lines because your Cavalier's dead here. Blood Tithe plus the combination of Chandra can deal with the Cavalier. It will allow you to pick up Storm again if they choose to go that route.
Which, I mean, you could do a lot worse than that. Yeah.
Yeah. Storm you usually cast for 2 times, so why not a third, right?
Exactly.
It's a festival after all.
Absolutely. Okay, so they go with
Chandra's just such a great card.
Oh, yeah. They go with the uptick on Chandra, find a Bone Crusher Giant that can pick off the Elvish Mystic. And here comes the Fable of the Mirror Breaker. You know it.
I mean, from Rakdos' side, you're only 2 turns away from the ultimate of Chandra.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's really no haste out of this deck. While there's Nissa token, you can block. Questing Beast, you can soak up the damage for at least a turn with the Blood Tithe Harvester. So it might just be a Chandra alt approach.
Okay. Which, is not a bad way to do things. So here our mono green player has, they're going to manually tap because they want to have as few forests tapped as possible before, when they go to play Nissa. Because now you get all your whole hand onto the field. And a Vigilant 3/3 to boot. So, not bad.
Beseju adds mana. It blows up artifacts, enchantments. It's a creature. What more can this land do?
I know, right? No, that card's incredible. I think all the channel lands from Kamigawa are pretty cool, but that one, I understand why, besides Who Endures, sees play, all the way back to Legacy, or probably even Vintage, if I'm not mistaken, because it's just 2 mana, blow up a ton of relevant permanents. I mean, the fact that it can hit non-basic lands, too. I oftentimes forget about that. It's like, you channel a Naturalized. Neat. And it's like, well, no, it's even better than that. Yeah. It's fantastic.
Look, whatever backdoor ways you have to deal with Solemnity 9 lives.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you need as many of those options as you can get.
In the tank here.
Yeah. All right. Bone Crusher coming down. At this point, the Rakdos player does need to get that 1/1 off the field because that takes care of the Lovestruck Beast. Because they need... Well... I mean, they're trying to protect Chandra here. I believe that's the end game.
Yeah. There should be enough bodies, though.
Mm-hmm.
Because you need exactly Fatal Push plus the Bone Crusher, where we would likely have seen that kind of snapped off.
Right.
But, even with the Fatal Push, you can take out a land, just more power. But I think being able to stop the Lovestruck altogether would have some value. I think that's elf number 4 that we've seen die, maybe 5.
Right. Yeah, it's been a rough day for elves today, no question. Yeah, Blood Tithe Harvester is going to pick off the 1/1 here quite comfortably. Sure. Which not only removes the 1/1 from potential combat next turn, but also, deactivates the Lovestruck Beast so it can no longer attack. And we have the upkeep stop yet again. Which, Dustin, our Rakdos player, has had a number of those this game. And this time with the Bedevil.
Yeah. Minor thing to keep in mind, Lair of the Hydra, you can activate itself for a 1/1. That enables the Love Struck Beast.
Oh, true.
So,
Yeah, that's a good shout out.
Sneaky little beast.
Yeah, that's pretty fantastic, actually. I hadn't considered that line. I like it.
Pretty underwhelming.
Yeah, Cascading Cataract is not nothing, but yeah, at this point, it's not
would have been
much. Well, and here's a situation where actually finding another elf on top would have been pretty nice because that would activate the Love Struck Beast.
Sean is taking a chunk.
Yeah. Mitigate. Yeah. Sometimes, it's not removing the Planeswalker like you'd want, but it's preventing that ultimate, which that's worth it. And here comes the Reflection of Kiki-Jiki, which is, an incredibly powerful card, but it does not have haste, unlike the OG Kiki-Jiki. And there's also nothing copied at the moment. So I got to say, our mono green player has done a really good job of taking over this game again.
Rakdos player just needs to survive the turn, upkeep, Pester Mite, copy. We got a Splinter Twin, and we're good.
But yet another Storm of the Festival. My goodness. No, and there's the Questing Beast.
So this is a Storm.
Oh, yeah.
One of these
options here. I mean, Kiora, Cavalier, QB. They're all great.
When Questing Beast, I think for value, you got to go QB. Best most words per cast.
I mean, the math doesn't lie. Yeah. Yeah, the sheer volume of text on that card is very impressive. And on top of that, it's all upside. Like, usually when you see a text box that big on such a cheap creature, there's usually some kind of downside. Nah. Just not on Questing Beast.
Nah. Questing Beast was R&D's initial work to get specialized onto Arena for Alchemy.
Right? Yeah, it was the first kind of feeling things out. Like, can people handle this much on a card? Like, okay, great. Yeah. Now, in that turn, they had the opportunity to use the Lair of the Hydra to activate the Love Struck Beast like we discussed, and they chose not to. I don't know if it was because they didn't see it or if they wanted to keep some mana up to maybe bluff, or to use the layer on defense potentially, because whatever the Raptors player is able to play, they will be able to, well, non-legendaries, they'll be able to copy with Kiki-Jiki. And here comes
the only
Sheldred.
other line there is they might have wanted to just make the troll the troll line this turn. So I don't think they would have had enough mana for both.
Okay, that makes sense. That Love Struck Beast actually.
I don't know if you've run into it in Historic. This Rakdos deck is pretty much a deck in Historic as well, but you get Molten Impact and you get Seasoned Pyromancer. So when they have Sheoldred out and they Seasoned Pyromancer, gain a bunch of life, get a bunch of new cards, a bunch of tokens. It's just absolutely disgusting.
That sounds incredible. Yeah. All right, our Rakdos player is in a rough spot here because they don't have an open mana to use Kiki-Jiki to create a blocker. They don't have an expendable blocker here, which you often have when you have access to the Reflection. Yeah. So I think this is probably, we're going to say farewell to Chandra here.
That seems like the right line.
Yeah.
The Blood Tithe at this point with Kiki's probably worth more.
Mm-hmm.
But Triple Festival.
Another Storm the Festival, yep. It was the fourth of the game, if I'm not mistaken. It's pretty good. Yeah, Karn and
I'm going to turn my light on because it got real dark real quick.
Oh, no. Yeah, do what you got to do. Absolutely. All right. So Karn the Great Creator is going for the down tick. They have a ton of options. They're going to grab a Meteor Golem. I love when a deck in a competitive 60-card format can take a card that looks like it should be relegated to like casual commander and just find a way to make it work. And my goodness, Meteor Golem is just that here. being able to pop the reflection or Sheoldred, that's money. And this is also game 3. So we need to keep in mind, this is game 3 of the top 8. So whoever wins this game is going to be moving on to the semifinals. So
yeah, normally I think the boat, like notwithstanding Sheoldred, the boat's probably a better call because it's just recurring damage. Plus the uptick on Karn can animate the boat.
Sure.
But at this point, the only way a Rakdos player is really hanging in here is Sheoldred, gaining them life as well as draining mono green.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, because while the mono green player is in a really powerful position here on the board, they are, I mean, life total wise, they are at 12. I mean, it's just going to take the Rakdos player 1, maybe 2 good turns, and with the Sheoldred online, and that could be that.
Blood tokens also represent 2 life, so keep that in mind. There's a virtual 4 life there. I think the only wrong thing that the Rakdos player is doing is using the wrong art for Sheoldred. It's definitely got to be the alternate.
That's fair. Yeah.
Like not even Phyrexian at least.
If that's the only mistake that they're making, I'd say they're doing pretty well. Yeah, here comes the henge.
All right, we're gonna see henge beatdowns with Karn. 9.
That could be
9/9.
Pretty delightful. Not gonna lie. Yeah, so the Meteor Golem is gonna be coming down, presumably going after Sheoldred. Yeah, and that's gonna. So Sheoldred is gonna be gone before the Great Henge draw trigger, which is handy for mono green player here. And the Rakdos player was hovering over the blood tokens, so it looked like they noticed what you pointed out, that was additional life that they had locked and loaded that they ultimately didn't end up using.
It's a bit tricky of a situation because you both need the blood to utilize these Blood Tithe Harvesters for actual removal. So it's, damned if you do, damned if you don't situation.
Yeah, it's a tricky situation to be sure. And now with Kiora and the Great Henge down, I mean, given the creatures that they have in their deck, basically it's you play a creature, you draw 2 cards. So that's pretty great. And they can also gain 4 life a turn off of Great Henge because of Kiora's downtick ability. So here we have an expendable Blood Tithe Harvester, but that's a lot of 5-power creatures crashing in.
Yeah, trample on top.
Mm-hmm. It's one of those things with.
I think even though.
Yeah,
I was just gonna say Kiora. I'm not sure if the untap's been already used, but just making the other troll untap the troll land.
Right. Yeah. We've got another harvester. See what happens here. Yeah, and meanwhile, they also have another Storm of the Festival in hand. So the amount of value that we were able to see in these last couple of turns. Oh, but here comes an extinction event. That is big time. It does get rid of the Fable.
Killed. Oh, but they're...
Wow. Yeah, and they keep their blockers back.
Attack there, they're dead on board.
Right, exactly, because, Great Henge beats. Could have been, would have been exactly what we were about to see.
Well, no, if they could have attacked the Karn,
they
could have had 2 layers out. You just needed the one once.
No, yes, you are correct. What can I say? I just want to see Great Henge beats. I guess since you mentioned it, I'm like, man, that sounds awesome. All right. So they have a Love Struck Beast in the adventure.
An Embercleave?
Right. Yeah, Great Henge and Embercleave, man. Explorer can be a wild and crazy place, and that's why we're doing this. Ooh, they're gonna load up the Wolf Willow Haven on 1 land. Because Kiora can, downtick to untap just that 1 land. So that's a neat.
Nykthos some assembly required.
Exactly. Yeah, DIY Nykthos. Yeah, that's all right. So yeah, here comes the Love Struck Beast. They're gonna draw a couple cards. Still have 1 mana floating and 1 untapped land. Make that 2 untapped lands. So here comes yet another Old Growth Troll. All right.
So Rakdos player needs their 2nd extinction event. I think they're on 2 for their whole list. 2.
Right. You know, green is just the best at just create a big creature and beat your opponent to death with them. And we are seeing it here. And here comes Invoke Despair, which, you know, as a card we were talking about earlier, doesn't see a lot of play in these lists, but my goodness. Here it is. And
This
it is going to hit.
One of the least impactful Invoke Despair is unfortunate.
Right, because they're well, at the end of the day, the green player had options on all 3 points, which is exactly the last thing you want. Yeah, they had multiple Wolf Willow Havens, they had 2 Planeswalkers and 2 creatures. So, you know, the Rakdos player was able to get some good value out of it, but not quite enough. Yeah, now here comes the Lair of the Hydra.
So
yeah, and now they have
they might have missed lethal here.
Possibly.
So Fatal Push keeps him alive.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
yep. Now,
the safer line there is make 2 the 2/1/1s and animate Henge is the safer line.
All right. So it looks like our competitors have made their way to the arena here, and we're getting things started. So this is delightful. Yeah.
So here we go. Yeah. This looks like a great hand.
Oh yeah. Being able to start with
the big addition to this Spirits deck is the Mausoleum Wander.
Oh yeah.
Basically, it is a manaless Force Spike at the very worst. So lets you play around stuff. So even in this case here, you can go something like Ascended Spirit, then play the Wanderer, and then be able to hold up protection for it, which is always nice. So there's a couple different ways they can approach this. Knowing the opponent's deck, they only have the March as instant speed. So both get hit by Portable Hole. You can't really stop that.
Mm-hmm.
But we see the shock here.
Yep.
It's a different type of Azorius control, so it's always worth referencing. So Foretell, they have 2 cards, or 3 cards actually. They have 1 Behold the Multiverse, 2 Saw Comings, and a Doomscar.
Yes, and so I think
so it can be anything.
Yeah, that Foretold card could be just about anything. Very interesting stuff. Yeah, and so to your earlier point, I think this particular control list is going to be very very well positioned if it can hit those Supreme Verdicts, like you're saying. Oh, but here we have a situation where they can play out the Mausoleum Wanderer or keep the Geistlight Snare up. Which line do you think was the way to go here?
So Geist Snare's the safer line. It hits everything. So Portable Hole gets you pretty bad. You have your engine going, and all your mana can be used for the Spirit. So here, if we had gone the Wanderer, we would have been stuck.
Yeah.
Likely, like, there's only 1 Doomscar. 3 of the Foretells are not impactful.
Mm-hmm.
And now you have both the Wanderer up and Lofty Denial to protect you.
Which is pretty nice. Yeah, so I say you send in the Spirit here to go draw a card and deal 2 damage. Excellent.
Yeah.
Ooh, and a fresh snare.
Personally, I wouldn't commit any more to the board because Supreme Verdict gets you regardless here.
Mm-hmm.
And you have your engine. You have all the mana sink possible that you want in Ascendant Spirit, so you can still pump it and hold up the Geist Snare in this scenario.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think you'll let the Behold the Multiverse hit. I mean, it's a little risky here. I can appreciate wanting to counter that because if you do, then maybe you deny them the opportunity to hit a Supreme Verdict, which you can't counter if they don't already have it. But if they do already have it, well, if they don't already have it, it's kind of a moot point. So,
yeah.
But if they throw another Portable Hole,
they're exposed to Wandering Emperor this way.
Yeah, which could be bad.
So Yeah. This hand actually was very good into yeah, so they would have been saved the other way.
Mm-hmm.
The hand was a good hand into blue-white control because you usually want your counters more than anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Supreme Phantom.
Still in a good spot here, though.
Yeah, buffing the Wanderer, and you got 2 counter spells and a flash threat back. That's not bad.
Yeah, I like this holding it back here.
Mm-hmm.
Your Sailor's the play post-combat. If they do have the sweeper, it lets you keep putting pressure down.
Right.
And to be honest, I almost like not even doing the Obsession here. Like have that as your in case of verdict.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense because you already have. I mean, the reason that you need to be drawing cards is so you can establish a board presence or hold up answers. Now, this does give them the opportunity to have the Lofty Denial as well as the Geistlight Snare. So, it's kind of nice. Shark Typhoon, okay. Yeah. You get a chump blocker, draw card.
Draw this turn.
Yeah, denies the obsession draw.
The interesting thing with this Spirits deck is you can really pivot into a lot of different directions. You can be very aggressive in the manner in which you kind of draw this out. So we see this current mono blue player going more all in. Usually when I play tempo decks, I'm a little bit more passive and I play kind of more the control element of it. But it depends. Like again, it depends on scenarios, stuff like that. We see so many decisions with just 3 mana, 4 mana worth of spells each turn.
Oh yeah. No, it's fascinating. My hat's off to anybody out there who can pilot mono blue tempo consistently. It's not easy, and yeah, I have incredible respect for the folks who can pull it off. Yeah,
it's a taxing deck for what is this now? 7 rounds plus 3 for potentially the finals.
Oh yeah. Wandering Emperor, you got to deny that. Game. Yeah. And to draw a fresh card? My goodness, yeah. Well, yeah, with Geistlight Snare back, I mean, yeah, that was it. That was perfect. Yeah, now, had that Wandering Emperor been a Supreme Verdict, that would have been a different story completely. Yeah, I think Supreme Verdict is like the ultimate tech against this type of deck. And like you were saying before the match started, this Azorius control player only has 2 in the main and none in the sideboard, which I am kind of surprised by because I feel like that card is just so strong against so many decks, and it really puts the hammer down against this one in particular.
Kind of a cheeky inclusion. Unsubstantiate can deal with Verdict on the stack because it's not counter.
Ha! All right. I like that.
Come on. We're tempo players. Everything is on the stack. Nothing hits the board.
Absolutely.
So Azorius control player has access to Farewell, which you don't really want a 6-mana sweeper against a bunch of force spikes.
Mm-hmm.
Settle the Wreckage could be reasonable. Forces to tap them out on their turn. 2 Mystical Disputes is likely just the fastest click you can put in the world. Counters literally everything in their deck.
100%.
The Dovin's Veto is an interesting inclusion, and that kind of goes back to my earlier comment where there's like 20-ish creatures in this deck, so 25 creatures, 9 spells, 4 enchantments, so 13 targets. Mono blue will bring in likely just the Disputes. I wasn't paying attention there, just kind of going over lists, but Disputes probably the only thing I'd bring in.
Yeah, they didn't make many changes.
Yeah, Verdicts, the Unsubstantiate could be reasonable.
Yeah, I don't believe they brought the Unsubstantiate in, which was interesting. I think that would have been a fine include. But you got the Mystical Dispute in the opening hand.
Yeah.
2 mana, 3 1-drop threats, and Lofty Denial. You can do a lot worse than that.
Yeah. If you want to get good at mono blue spirits, have an 8-hour flight and just have to wait in the airport for delays.
Nice.
A 2-hour bus ride to the airport. You can grind games.
I like it. All right. Yeah, that sounds like a fine way to get some reps in. Yeah, so as much as you want one of these threats to have flash, Unfortunately, they don't. But they're just going to hold up the dispute here. That's interesting. I probably would have led with the Ascended Spirit. And it looked like our mono blue player was considering it. But now they decided to throw the Mausoleum Wanderer with the Mystical Dispute back to make sure it lands. Yeah, so the Mystical Dispute atop the Mystical Dispute. Tales old as time. Now, does our Azorius player have a second Mystical Dispute? All right.
They likely drew the cycle this turn. Otherwise, they would have cycled it on one. Unless they were concerned about Spectral Sailor.
Right.
This match is going to be so confusing to know whose turn, what sequence, what step.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the thing. When you're playing, I mean, when you're playing with blue, the far more of the game takes place on the stack than it's just about anything else. So I enjoy that. I think it's a fun, different way of approaching the game, and that's what we have here.
Shields down, no punish. And this is part of the reason with this blue-white deck just not having really any instant speed interaction. No Fateful Absence, 2 March. They could have had Cast Down there, but I imagine the Cast Down's out of the deck at this point.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, but another Curious Obsession is in place. And you have Lofty Denial and Slip Out the backup, just in case. So if you end up having Stack Battle, you have 2 things you can throw into it, depending on how it lines up.
And Slip Out's actually fantastic, just being able to get around Supreme Verdict, phasing out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've seen Slip Out do some pretty great things today.
About this result.
Yeah. As much as you want to deny that card draw, I think you really need to keep that counterspell for whatever's coming next. 1 top, 1 bottom. That's my least favorite thing to see a Scry 2 line up to. At the end of the day, Scry is just good value no matter what. But, yeah. Actually, no, 2 top, I guess, is the absolute worst. But, anyway.
Yeah.
I tend to overthink things. I don't know if that's abundantly clear, but here we are. Yeah, so we have 5 mana open on the Azorius control player side. We got 3 open on mono blue side. Supreme Verdict. Slip out the back. There it is.
Yeah. And even one thing, like with Otawaro here, it can be used just to rebuy your own creature.
Yeah.
Bit of a flood. And then also no Faceless Havens. So the wrong flood.
Right. Yeah, exactly. A flood with a Haven down would be just fine, because then all of a sudden you'd be feeling pretty good. But there's one of the 2 Supreme Verdicts that lined up at a pretty good opportunity that just the right answer was there. Well, there's the Haven. Okay, excellent. Yeah, now that Spirit is a casual 6/6 with counter backup and a Haven online.
Imagine sleeping up. You know, you can we have a bunch of counter spells, but a 1/1 that came down is just going to beat you in the end.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing with these tempo decks. If they're allowed to keep any threat online, and Ascended Spirit is such a perfect fit for this deck specifically, because it doesn't stay a 1/1 for long. Yeah. And it, as we see, I mean, it's become a flying 6/6 that draws cards when it connects. It's pretty great. You know, we have the Shark Typhoon here, which creates the chump blocker, but even Otawara could bounce that if, you know, if our mono blue player wants to be that aggressive.
Line.
Yeah, that would be maybe that'd be a little greedy.
Yeah, I think at this point you're too far ahead.
Correct. Yeah, drop the other Spirit, because the chances of them having another, you know, if they have a Doomscar or something like that, you can just counter it. If they do have the second Supreme Verdict, which, well, there you are. That's actually a really unfortunate circumstance. But yeah, the Otawara, like you were saying, it can keep one of them around, or at least bring them back.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter which
but
one
at this point, now you're out of the woods. Every other spell could be countered at this point.
Yep. Yeah, the worst case scenario was they hit both Supreme Verdicts, and well, that's come to pass. So, yeah, that's all done. Another Haven is actually pretty sweet here. Yeah, now you have the Ascended Spirit in hand, but you don't even need it. That's nice. Yeah, but they're gonna play it anyway. Makes sense. Because the Faceless Havens do tap for snow mana, so they can be used to level up the Ascended Spirit. And they still have 1 blue back, which is all they need for the Lofty Nile. So, all right. This is looking pretty good.
Well, Spirit's 2 to activate. So first mode. It's a little bit more expensive than Evolve Sleeper.
Right.
So they
but they have 2 snow mana down
right now.
Yeah. They couldn't activate it.
No, they have the 3, but they'd have to tap a
Yeah.
Yeah. So we see them hovering over the Supreme Verdicts. So I think they realize as well they're out of the woods there.
Yeah, absolutely.
The next draw is going to be pretty big, I'd say, for Mono Blue. The Double Haven is big because it also gets around Wandering Emperor.
Right.
But the castle could eventually chump block.
Yeah, it's incredible how Vigilance went from being like pretty solid. Like Vigilance has always been good, but the moment Wandering Emperor showed up, Vigilance just became excellent. And yeah, it's just such a big deal. And here we go. So they decided to level up the Ascended Spirit, keep the mana back. You're going to settle the Wreckage. Lofty Denial is just enough. They have 3 mana open. They need 4 to pay for it. All right.
Yeah, that's getting a Settle there, because Settle is the answer to these Faceless Havens. I'm actually curious. Is this blue-white control deck on any Field of Ruins? 2 Field of Ruins.
Okay. Yeah, Portable Hole's pretty good here, and they have the castle back to chump block. But there are 2 Faceless Havens and enough mana to activate both of them.
All right. I got hit by a
I did as well.
We're watching this match on Twitch.
Dang.
So we are going really tiny window. We see the double Faceless Haven attack.
All right.
3 life. All right, we're back in, folks. Settle.
Oh, there it is. Oh my goodness.
Do you tap?
Yeah, settle the Wreckage with the double Faceless Havens. The nice things about Magic, even in the tiny window, you can more or less see what's going on. Yeah, so Rattle Chains is coming down.
Just playing that dual deck, the really miniature one.
Exactly. So they use the mana from the Faceless Havens to cast, some of the mana from the Faceless Havens to cast out a Rattle Chains, which, okay. But here comes Teferi. Oh my goodness. Is Azorius Control back in this?
If you had to choose the cards you needed, Verdict, Settle, Teferi.
It's pretty nice.
What was the line you drew for the turn? Hall of the Storm Giants?
Yep. Holy cow.
Baneslayer, this game's and we see it from the mono blue player just shaking their head.
Yeah, what can you do? I mean, they had a phenomenal setup. But man, when you draw all the answers, holy cow. Yeah, I mean the control deck just had
here on the play.
An amazing sequence. So what do you sideboard in this situation?
So the thing is, they're already on Portable Hull. The one thing that sometimes I do like against these control decks is a vehicle, even though they're not a dedicated graveyard deck. It gives the creation of pseudo haste. But given that most of the threats in this deck can be played at instant speed, you kind of get around that.
Mhm.
It's not in a normal sense, like pre-farewell world, I was always bringing in vehicles. Vehicles were kind of like your answer to it. And the old, like when Gruul was very popular, you bring in Cinder Vines or Roiling Vortex, things like that to deal with these control decks. But with having so many exile-based effects that hits artifacts and enchantments, Portable Hole hits it, March hits it, Farewell hits it. It's a little rough. The only thing I'd consider is maybe an unsubstantiate, but you also don't want to dilute your creature density that high.
Right. Yeah, it is very possible to over sideboard and end up with just nothing but answers and none of your game plan. Yeah, that definitely would be an issue. Yeah. Good stuff. But yes, here we are going into game 3. And I'm just keeping an eye on our pairings, and it looks like the other game, the Abzan Greasefang deck versus the Mono Green Planeswalker deck, has not yet reported. So that game is underway presently as well. Yeah. All right. One lander, but too slow about the backs. A Spectral Sailor.
One line plays 6 cards.
That's a fun thought. I mean, and he keeps it. All right.
I mean, you can cast literally everything in your hand.
I mean, yeah.
Look, there's 21 more lines in your deck. You just gotta have faith.
Exactly. Yeah. Here comes the Wanderer.
Look, how many times have you shown up and a blue deck has had it? They always have it. They did not have it.
Oof. Yep. There's the Supreme Phantom. So on the play, one lander, and the Portable Hole shows up, which was about the best thing they could have had. There's a Spectral Sailor. Ooh, right. Yet another.
You gotta get Rich.
Yep.
Did Rich leave his hat there for you? His control hat? Because the shuffler right now is looking mighty rigged.
Right. Oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness. Here comes another portal. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, some of the back is great, but, there's no question. It's what you got to do, but wow.
All right, we got there.
Good deal.
Will this 1/1 carry? Or this 1 mana spell carry?
That's actually, I think that might be why I have just appreciation for these tempo decks. I love seeing 1-drops just completely take over. 1-drops winning the day. Just, I don't know. There's something about it. It's delightful.
Yeah. You hear that, Wizards? Monastery, Swiftspear, when?
Exactly.
When can I get my 1-drops in Explore?
When they announced
Fervent Champion.
Exactly. When they announced the when they announced the Explorer anthologies, I was super excited. I was like, maybe we get Swiftspear and Elvish Mystic, and Wizards was like, I got you on one of those. Like, well, thanks, but where's my Swiftspear?
Well, look, like I said, I got my Kalidas on Arena, so I have one of my 2 paper decks. Now give me my damn Eidolons and my damn Swiftspears.
Exactly. Yeah.
I just want to turn creatures sideways as fast as possible.
It's a good feeling. Yeah. Yeah, so being able to counter the several directions is good. However, now if the control player has any removal here, it's going to resolve, which they're not happy about. Or the mono blue player. Or Teferi is definitely hitting the board, which that's not good.
I think you got to force Phantom here. You got to take Teferi off this turn. You can't afford 2 card draws and an untap.
Right. Yeah, exactly. A control deck always having at least 2 mana up with drawing 2 cards a turn. That's just, that's backbreaking. And they want to go face. They want to keep the pressure on and try to bring the game to a close. But Teferi is Teferi. It just, got to take him out when you can. All right. Irrigated farmland is cycling. There's that Field of Ruin. Great answer for any Faceless Havens that might show up here. Supreme Verdict. Slip out is handy, but
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going for the Sailor just because it's, it's the biggest body and potential card draw later. So that makes sense. I think that or the Supreme Phantom would have been okay as well, but obviously you just need.
No. Phantom by itself doesn't do enough. The Sailor at that point, it's bigger, and it's also going to just give you card advantage if you do start hitting lines.
Right.
There was a line there in the decision point. Shacklegeist coming down. The dispute is now not able to hit a Wandering Emperor, or if they did keep out cast down. So we see Emperor come here, and in this case, they had the 7 mana anyways.
Right. And sure enough, yeah. Yeah, we have an Emperor, which is presumably going to exile that Sailor. Because a 2/2 Samurai on the ground is just not going to do really anything here. To the point where, if I'm our tempo player, it makes sense to knock out Emperor because she can provide additional value. But
no, you got to take the
you
got to take the threat off the board.
Yeah,
because our control player is down to 2 cards, and they don't have any utility lines, so they're not spending their mana. So if they just have counter spells in hand,
this is a situation where
3, dispute is 3.
All right. They let the cast out resolve. Going after the Sailor, so they get an activation. Draw another Shacklegeist. Not amazing, but hey, a 2/2 flyer, you could do worse than that.
Yeah. Well, that was a big turn cycle because shields were down, mono blue, or the blue-white player could have dropped the Teferi, could have dropped the Wandering Emperor, something to really turn the corner there, and they've just passed.
Yeah. Yes, so no matter what cards they have, it's not presumably not a Wandering Emperor. Well, it might be a Wandering Emperor because Flash, but yeah, it wasn't a Teferi, wasn't a Shark Typhoon. Well, again, likely not a Shark Typhoon. They could, again, cycling, but
yeah.
All right.
Interesting here, choosing to go shields down.
Yep. So they have the Ottawara, so they have a Mystic Dispute up, but at the same time, the Azorius player has so much mana down that Dispute's probably not going to be able to hit whatever they try to throw here.
Yeah.
Or it's probably not going to be enough.
Teferi on this board. Brazen's actually a great inclusion. And this is where we're seeing the choice of going portable hull over something like March really come into effect. Not really answering the threat. Or in this case, a 5/5.
Okay.
Oh, they clicked the wrong side. They clicked the wrong side.
No! Oh, no. Oh.
That is heartbreaking.
Yeah, you hate to see it. Because it was such a clean answer, too. And just, oh, man. Ouch.
For the finals.
Oh, no. Oh. And is that, that 5/5 shark might just be enough here. Yeah, because I can't really afford to attack as much as you need to get in for damage. Yeah.
Well, the problem is the Brazen Borrower itself is not because with Shacklegeist you can tap it down on end step and then go into combat.
Yeah, but you need to have 2 spirits, exactly.
But we need another spirit to do that.
Spirit. Yep. Yeah, and drawing counter spells, which, I mean, not a bad thing to have in this matchup, but kind of a bad thing to have in this situation. Yeah. Even getting another Ottawara or something would have been great, but yeah,
I had that happen to me last week during MIQ. Cast Archangel of Wrath, meant to do kicker. So I went from killing their board, having a board state with an Archangel and a flipped Fable, to not killing their thing and then just getting steamrolled.
Ouch. Oh man. You hate to see it. But like you touched on this a little bit earlier. You know, this player that we're watching, Atzabrow here, has been playing a pretty skill testing, decision heavy deck for over 6 hours today. That's going to take a toll, and getting into the later parts of this this tournament, I mean, it's understandable that it would be, you know, you might be a little frazzled. You might be a little.
You're seeing all those lines now.
Yeah. Oh man. And we got another. Yeah, we're getting some land off the top.
So big thing here we're gonna see now is Castle Ardenvale. This Pasco. The blue-white player has something to do now.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Might see them start fighting over this. So with this current state, you can push through 3 damage. But we might be like the blue-white player has had 4 turns of just drawing cards.
Yeah, and if that Brazen Bar, if it had been the petty theft, if the misclick hadn't occurred, yeah, they would have been dead 2 turns ago. Yeah.
And we can also just see a breaker card and Dovin's Veto here. While soft counters, you could stack them all up. And our mono blue players losing the mana count for Mystical Dispute. Okay. They are paying for it.
Okay. Yeah, but being very deliberate as to which lands are tapped. That makes sense. All right. Yeah, and that Ascended Spirit hitting the board, like this, you know, this fight for the Ascended Spirit might look, you know, might look a little silly. However, like you said, with the
So this is big because and something they should have looked to do. The Geistnir should have countered the original counter spell. So that way you had 2 taxing on it. Yeah, and we just saw 4 turns of doing nothing.
Oh, doggone it. Yeah.
Bunch of life gained.
Yeah.
Mono Blue's not out of it. Rip a Spirit off the top. Throw the Curious Obsession on Brazen Bar. Tap down the Shark, attack in. Hope they don't have an answer. Gets you back in it. Puts them down, but they're no longer 2 turns. Okay, it's 1 card. No Castle of Vantress to really smooth out the draws. A 1/1's not going to kill you. But we are seeing all those beautiful full art snow lands instead.
Which they are lovely lands, but yeah, not the time. Ouch. My goodness.
All right. Well, while we wait for the cycling to happen, we do have a result for our other side of the bracket. We have Karn, the Great Creator, saying vehicles shall not crew. 2-0 victory against Abzan Greasefang.
Wow. All right. So here comes a Mausoleum Wanderer with no counters no counter spells in hand to back it up. But yeah, exactly like you're saying.
The Vantress did come down, so.
Right.
Now, is there ever a combination other than top bottom? It's always top bottom.
It's always top bottom, yeah. Somehow it's always top bottom. Yeah, there's Teferi.
You get that little bit of hope, like bottom. Okay.
Yep. No, I love seeing the double, bottom. It's like, okay, you're digging for something, you probably don't have it in hand, but yeah, top bottom, like, all right. So Shacklegeist is gonna do its thing. Pin it on the Shark. Here comes another Ascended Spirit. Okay. Good mana sink. Bumps up the Wanderer. I mean, you got to put Curious Obsession on something, but what do you attach it to here? I'm thinking probably the Wanderer or the Borrower. You definitely don't want to put on the Shackle Geist. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is
because the Shackle Shackle's letting you actually deal with this board state. Like,
oh yeah.
Ooh.
Well, and my thought is you don't want to give. I mean, yeah, Shackle exactly. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Shackle's letting you deal with the board state, and at the end of the day, your opponent already wants to get rid of the Shackle Geist, but that Settle the Wreckage being that one card in hand. I mean, my goodness. Hard Ascendant Spirit, no pressure, but now all of the pressure is on you here.
Yeah, I don't think I would have played the lined out that turn.
Yeah, I would have held it.
It just gives them free information.
Ouch.
Arena would have been beneficial there because you always get priority for your spirit. So bluff like you have protection.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, they only had one card in hand. What could it have been? It can't be Settle.
Yeah, there's no way. What are the odds? Yeah, exactly. Like, you got to take that shot. Absolutely. And dang.
We got to tell Pizza, though. If Blue-White wins, we got to get the soundbite from Strider. We need the you got you baited.
Right, yeah. Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
Pizza people, are you enjoying the content? Don't forget, subscribe to the channel. It's free. Hit that bell icon as well. That way, anytime any of our new content comes out, you're able to see it right away. Hey, leave a comment down below as well. Tell us what you're going to play in the next event, or tell us what you're enjoying about the video. Don't forget, check out the description too. We've got tons of great content down below. And on top of that, we're going to have our tournament schedule too. So get in on it. Hope to see you.
We had Rakdos, the most represented deck, being 25 of the participants. We had 116, so about a fifth, 20% of the meta. They had a 53% win rate. Azorius Control, while we have one in the finals, had a pretty lousy showing otherwise, 47% win rate. Mono Red at 43%. Abzan Combo, 55. Five Color Fires actually had the best win rate at 59.
Wow.
And then, that in Mono Blue Tempo, but we start getting into smaller sample sizes. Rakdos Sacrifice, 3 and 11 record, 21%. Folks, leave your cat ovens at home.
Wow.
The cat's been through enough.
Yeah, it certainly has. Yeah.
Right.
Wow, I'm surprised, but yeah, apparently the meta has adjusted, and here we are. Yeah, and so we had this is a very interesting hand. So the mono green player mulled the first one, which I believe was correct, and ended up picking up a hand with a bunch of 1-drops and 2 Wolf Willow Havens. So mana's not going to be an issue this game. The only question is, can they draw into something that they can cast with all that mana? That's what it's going to come down to.
Yeah, so there's likely going to be a poll. Pizza is going to set it up. Who you think will win this? You might be seeing a couple turns in, but put in the chat for the poll. See who you think will win.
Absolutely.
Cavalier's a big draw here.
Oh, yeah. And Absorb is a fine answer to it.
Ooh.
Yeah. And just like that, the mono green player has, all the mana in the world, and they have the Lair of the Hydra, so that's something. Plus, they can activate the Wolf Willow Havens to produce those little wolf tokens. But, that's not what you want to be doing in this situation. Storm the Festival could be nice.
Wandering Emperor here, and then... No, I think you go Mystic Attack, try to bait out the Emperor, and then Storm.
Yeah, but here comes the Storm.
Upside here is you can hit Nisa. All right, not bad.
Yeah.
Not great, not bad.
You can definitely do worse. I mean, getting a Cardra Engine in Kiora is pretty nice. And getting an immediate trigger off the Lovestruck Beast. Okay. Yeah, Lovestruck Beast is up there as one of those cards that it's easy to underestimate, but at the end of the day, it's pretty darn good.
No, Lovestruck Beast was a thorn in my side for 2 years. I play mono red. Do you know what mono red doesn't like? A 3-mana 5/5.
Yeah, 3-mana
That
5/5
also
that can
brings
block
along
with no restrictions. Yeah, it's not great. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, you could throw as many swords on a Fervent Champion. It ain't doing much against a 5/5.
Nope. Yeah. No, Lovestruck Beast. Yeah, that was in Eldraine Standard. We had, I mean, Oko was just the thing, but then once that got banned, Adventures was the thing, and then when Clover got banned and that kind of got taken down a peg, Lovestruck Beast, Great Henge. Yeah, you had the Lovestruck Beast, Great Henge, and then you had the Fervent Champion Embercleave, and then it was like those were your, you know.
But wait, there was also
players.
the Gruul, Great Henge, Embercleave.
Oh no, oh, that's true. Actually, that deck was terrifying. Yeah.
Gruul Adventures.
Oh my goodness.
The deck that the mana never worked for me. My opponent always had Eddie on one, and I always had tap land.
Dang, yeah. Oh my goodness. The potential was just so strong there. Yeah. Anyway, so we have a situation where we've got our mono green friend here has just more mana than they know what to do with. Fortunately, the Storm of the Festival is in the graveyard, ready to roll. I think you have to attack with the Lovestruck Beast here to pull any, potentially Wanderer. Like if they have it, draw it out. Playing the Mystic here is kind of
the one thing
relevant. Yeah.
I think they're valuing their board right now more, where it's like, yeah, you can save this, but this kind of telegraphs as well if they have like a Verdict or Sweeper that they're fine with letting this resolve potentially.
Yeah. Which could be, whether or not this gets countered is going to be very telling. Because at this point, the control deck has a ton of cards. All right.
Really need to see a Nisa here with the Cataracts being indestructible and Vigilance. It's really just March at that point that could deal with it. And even with March, does it say non-lined or just creature?
I believe it just says creature.
Cast down says non-creature.
Yeah, March of Otherworldly Light says exile target artifact, creature, or enchantment with mana value. So yeah, it could. Actually, March of Otherworldly Light is a great answer to creature lands. But doing all that pre-combat, Lovestruck Beast connects. So if they have to settle the wreckage, which it was the one that I'm definitely concerned about. If I'm in the mono green,
the settles are on the side.
Oh, they are. Oh yeah, good call. Thank you. And I have no doubt they're coming in for game 2.
They're playing for Farewell.
Yeah. There it is. Yep.
One of Farewell. Always have it on turn 6.
How? How do they always have it?
Look. Chat. If you want to draw this well, $1,000 a month, like the Magic 30 bundle, you too can get Arena Premium. It's a proxy deck. It's the opposite of what Rich has for the Shuffler. You too can draw like a champ.
My goodness. Yeah. Arena Premium. Yeah, that's the... Could you imagine if Wizards of the Coast actually came out with that product?
What I have. It's my favorite YouTube response all the time. Like in August, I got #1 Mythic like the first day of the month.
Nice, yeah.
Mono red, and I got I had like an 87% win rate, like something stupid.
Nice,
I had a bunch of people telling me the deck wasn't good and they couldn't win. I'm like, it's just because you're not on Arena Premium. Get on it, and then you'll see. I don't know what more I have to tell you. I got #1 with 87% win rate. I think that's
clearly the deck can work. It's right there.
So it's just it's Arena Premium. You don't have the Shuffler settings scrolled the right way.
The Shuffler settings, my goodness. Yeah, I love this. I'm not gonna lie. All right, so so Kiora is gonna be. I say the combo of Kiora plus the Willow Haven. That's just nice. Like, that's just fun tech. I like it.
Yeah.
And here we have Cavalier Thorns coming down.
Well, now imagine that with Nykthos when you're generating instead of just 2 mana a turn, 10 mana a turn.
That'd be pretty nice. Yeah. Ooh, Cavalier Thorns. It does reveal the Nissa, which is going to be going to the graveyard. So that's a mild bummer. Now that, yeah, they have an opportunity to throw the OGT deck here.
They've used their farewell already. So they either need to spend a whole bunch of mana on a march to exile the Cavalier, tuck it, or the 2 cast outs. It's the only exile removal. Well, I guess the Wandering Emperor, so it's going to be a weird dance of do you, don't you? Attack with the Cavalier.
Absolutely.
And that's the one thing with like the Wandering Emperor. It's added just this whole other dimension to the game where typically, you want to force, you want to attack, but now you're being passive, which plays into their board, where just the presence of it alone is kind of a fog effect.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and that's something that we see in formats where Settle the Wreckage is legal. And yeah, Wandering Emperor is very much the same way. And now we have it in Standard. So that's kind of fun where you have situations where it's like, okay, if I attack with everything, it's lethal, but what are the chances that they have it? And you end up going into what might be suboptimal attacks. Yeah, the idea of just playing around it. That was actually a big moment when I realized, if I'm playing a deck that has counterspells in it, even if I don't have them in hand, just the threat of them could result in my opponent not casting their spells. And it's like, well, the counterspells, even the theoretical counterspells are doing their job by preventing my opponent's spells from resolving. Feels pretty good. So
yeah, and we saw that even going back to the Spirits matchup, that game with Blue-White on the control, Shaka and Hallow Fountain on 1 pass, representing Mystical Dispute, threw the blue player off in terms of the curve.
Exactly. Yeah, it makes a big difference.
All right.
Yeah.
So they haven't snuck it into their sideboard and pulled in the second copy of Farewell. So they haven't cheated yet.
Not yet. Yeah.
So they're in the tank. They're thinking.
Another feature of Arena Premium, by the way.
Just
mid-game
does not
sideboards.
want us. Yeah. Yeah. That's actually the Premium Plus.
Got it. Okay.
That's $2,000 a month. Just think of the Hasbro stakeholders, please.
The poor Hasbro stakeholders. Yes. All right. So it would appear as though the control player. I had a second where I was like, are they going to forget that the Cavalier has reach? But nope, they remember. But here we have Nissa, who shakes the world in hand. But against a control deck that has 7 lands untapped, most of which can produce blue.
Yeah.
So that's a thing.
And we've seen this version of Blue-White's got a lot more counters than you see. 2 vetoes, 4 censors, 2 absorbs, 2 sock comings.
Yeah. Wow.
Comes down.
I was just about to say smart money is on Nissa not resolving, but she does. And just like that, the Cascaded Cataracts, Indestructible, Vigilant, 3/3, live and online.
All right. It's going to happen next turn. Top deck Karn. Karn selects Pithing Needle, names Wandering Emperor.
That would be pretty darn sweet. And I think this attack makes a lot of sense because you definitely want to protect your walkers, and the Cavalier does that. Attacking with the Old Growth Troll would almost be guaranteeing that it just bites it. And Lovestruck Beast offers the trade. They do have the March, which is a phenomenal answer for that Cataracts. But now you have the question of, do they block the Lovestruck Beast, or do they let their life total be halved if they don't have the Wandering Emperor? Which they do. Holy cow.
Just get the banner, Arena Premium.
They go with the uptick so the shark can take care of the Lovestruck Beast, no problem. And now they have a 6/6 that can be a 7/7 first striker next turn. Yeah, that's okay. That was a pretty good turn for the Azorius player. Yeah, but that said, they're down
Something
to 1.
Interesting for this matchup. I was just going to say the time. We can't see the clocks right now, but okay, it's happening. What did I say? Karn, go get Needle.
I think Pithy Needle out of the board is... Yeah, it's a great
It's
idea.
happening. Get it. Get it.
Come on.
Get
Yeah! Got him. Yep, there it is.
Don't name the Wanderer.
Yeah, no.
Name the Wandering
Same
Emperor.
character, not same card. Yeah.
One was playable, one was not.
Exactly, yeah. I wanted to like the Wanderer.
Actually, one was playable.
I mean,
The Wanderer with Command the Dreadhorde is a combo.
That's a pretty killer combo, yes. All right, they're going to bounce the
Don't ruin
Cavalier.
this for me. Just attack Nisa. Nisa's more of a threat. Karn needs to animate this Pithing Needle.
Exactly. We need to see Pithing Needle lethal.
That
I mean,
with the
Nissa
layer
is
is lethal on
legitimately...
board.
Yeah, I think Nissa is legitimately the bigger threat, so that makes sense. Oh, but the Supreme Verdict.
So
Ouch.
one thing what they could have done there is float the mana with the elf, and they could have cracked it to make a 4/4 there. So
True.
losing out on a creature that turn. But do they just have enough mana with all the 2, 4, 8, 10, 9 mana? They're one short. So if they would have done that line, they would have had it. Mm-hmm. Actually, no. Animate the Pithing Needle. It is lethal. It's lethal.
Would have had it. Oh,
no,
man.
Count your mana. It's lethal.
Excuse me. Oh, my goodness. Yes, always count your mana. Bonder's Enclave is pretty sweet here. It's more card draw. Losing more Karns, which is mildly problematic, but not the end of the world.
I don't want safe lines. Pithing Needle, lethal.
The people have spoken. Yes. We demand lethal Pithing Needles. But now we have the Great Henge Kiora combo, drawing into yet another Karn and a Cavalier for good measure. Okay. It's pretty nice.
The record goes down. Pithing Needle on Wandering Emperor was lethal. I called it.
Yeah, no, I'm impressed.
I'm so upset.
It was so close. We were right there.
I would have never had a better moment in my life of called shot.
Oh, Doomscar. Okay. This is going to get the Cavalier trigger, which is pretty nice. Yeah, you got Nissa. You got Storm the Festival. Yeah, reloading a Storm. Okay. Not bad. Not bad.
Okay, we're going to try this again. Karn, animate the Great Henge.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, you generally run Karn for that passive and then the down tick. But that uptick can get some work done.
Yeah. Yeah. This could have been done last turn with a 1/1.
Well, and there's the layer of the Hydra down there, too. Or they're going for the needle. Go for the needle. Do it. Do it. Oh, my goodness. All right, looks like they're going for the layer.
Yeah, just make it a 1/1.
Just a big old chonky boy. All right, fair enough. Casual 19 damage on 2 cards that are not creatures. Feels pretty good. And that is the end of game 1. All right.
All right. Now, for very complex sideboarding, you could buy my sideboard guide for this matchup. You're going to click the 1 of Questing Beast and add it into the deck, and you're going to move the 1 Voracious Hydra.
Whoa. You just blew my mind there. I never would have pieced that together. I'm impressed.
This has taken me years to find. See, this is the call for this tournament.
Mm-hmm.
See, Mono Blue had to think about things. Mono Green? Nah. Does opponent have black removal? Yes. No. If so, does opponent have Planeswalkers? Yes. Questing Beast in, Voracious Hydra out.
Dude, I love wish boards.
So for the actual sideboard for blue-white, we're likely going to see the Angel package come in, Baneslayer and Lyra, the 2 Settles, the other Farewell, and the 2 Aether Gusts.
Yeah, I think that's
We'll
spot
likely
on.
see the censors come out. Force Spike is not very good with the deck making 7,200 mana.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when your opponent has
And
12 mana on turn 4, it's like, well, okay, maybe this isn't helpful. Yeah. Good stuff.
decent hand.
Yeah, absolutely. You got 3 lands. You got the Wolf Willow Havens. Good old Lovestruck Beast. Can't go wrong.
All right. Let's go Visetto. So while this turn kind of plays out, just a reminder for folks, if you are enjoying this tournament setting, Hollywood Pizza does these 3 times a month. Varied formats, all best of 3 on Melee. The next tournament will be standard on November 6th. So if you do want to join in, free to play, cash prizes, you can use that money. Arena Premium, boom. Free to play to Arena Premium.
There it is.
As well for kind of a self-shill. If you're looking for Decklists every single week on my YouTube channel, YouTube at MTG Joe, I do weekly meta breakdowns. All that untapped premium data that's behind a paywall. I go through it, I highlight trends, everything like that. So jump over if you want to get data to play in these tournaments. I usually highlight everything leading up to the tournament that the week is. So Hollywood and I kind of go back and forth to try to coordinate to give you the hottest decks, the best meta kind of advancements, especially with Meat Hook Band. If you want to know what you're playing, it's all there. Boros midrange, not the call. Don't play it in the MIQ.
Good to know. All
Sarah
right.
Paragon. Sarah Paragon will be the life and death of me in standard. I will repeatedly play it.
I mean, it's a
The
great
thing
card.
is, when Sarah Paragon's good, it's so good.
Right. No, I mean,
but
you
when
read
they
it
always
pops
have her son too.
Yeah, I mean, that text box pops. Like, it looks great. It's like, oh, Mega Luris? Yes, please. Yeah. So, yeah. But no, thank you. And
to be fair,
yeah,
they had. Well, I was gonna say, I was planning on playing Mono Black the day before Meat Hook ban. Then they banned Meat Hook. Didn't go into effect till Thursday. I had Friday to practice for a Saturday tournament, so I'm like, wedding announcement good, Fable good. Let's play Boros.
There you go.
So,
you know, that makes a lot of sense. Those are 2 really good cards to take a guess on. Yeah. Good stuff. Well, and yeah, and genuinely thank you for letting people know where they can find you. Because don't worry, I was not going to let this broadcast end without making sure we got the various plugs in. Because yeah, that's important. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, if you're not currently following MTG Joe, also by the way, I'm just going to point this out. Like, how many MTG players are there named Joe? Probably a lot. This is the MTG Joe, the one. Just point that out there.
Yeah, except technically on Instagram, I'm MTG Joe too. So I couldn't get the number 1, but I got the YouTube
bummer.
one. That's all that matters.
But we all know.
So
yeah.
If MTG Joe 1 on Instagram is out there, I'm coming for you. But yeah, and then also check out Hamhawk on Twitch. He's my morning right before work starts.
Oh, thanks,
I got
man.
The early stream.
Yeah, I always appreciate that.
Before
no,
we're
yeah. So if you're looking for like top tier competitive information, metagame analysis, information on sideboard guides, that kind of thing, yeah, MTG Joe and Hollywood Pizza got you. If you want to see just like a chill time where people are like, "Wee, cards are fun," I got you. That's my stream. Yeah, twitch.tv/hambox42. Also on the YouTubes doing various things. All right. So sorry, we have the finals. The finals are going on right in front of us, and yeah, we're too busy just hanging out, having a good time, and throwing out various shills. So the green deck does have the ability to put 5 power on the board.
It's round 10 of a tournament.
True.
It's round 10 of a tournament. I think we all need a break, but
yeah,
this is a big swingy moment. Teferi has survived a combat step.
Yeah, that March of Otherworldly Light has been putting in some work this game. And being able to get rid of, the creature lands are really strong, but March being able to knock them out where X equals 0, being able to get rid of, in this case, a 3/3 body, exiled no less, for 1. That's pretty fantastic. Come Storm the Festival. Now the control player has 3 cards in hand. Is one of them a counterspell? That turns out to be yes. And Dovin's Veto no less, which is a pretty good one to have.
Make a 2/2. All right. This one is likely over at this point, I would say. Needs to be a pretty unfortunate string of draws.
Yeah. When Teferi's
Even
been
at
able
this
to
point-
Yeah, when you've been able to activate Teferi this many times, you know, and now having a 3/3 on board, yeah, it's definitely not looking good.
Yeah, because even what they
for
can
a modern
do
player.
is they can activate Castle pre-Teferi to sculpt their draw with Teferi, and then untap again.
Yep.
Which we're going to see right now. Kind of, they're still getting value from it, but top is probably not what you want to see on the other side.
Nope.
Okay, QB down.
Excellent.
Let's go. QB time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if the Questing Beast hits, then Teferi is going to be in trouble.
That's probably the best draw because Emperor Token can't do anything. Don't attack.
No, don't. No, to go face.
Face.
Gotta go face. And the reason we're saying that is because the Questing Beast has an ability in that novel on it that if you deal damage to a player, you deal that much damage to one planeswalker they control. So they did just miss out on 4 damage to the life total there.
Section 7, subparagraph 8.
Exactly.
Rules and requirements.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a missed opportunity. If this game ends with the control player being at like 3 life, I'm going to be so sad.
Somewhere on Twitch, Jaffer is just yelling into the void.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a Pizzazhu.
Yeah, that farewell's pretty nasty. Ooh,
those are 2 great hits.
Yeah, Karn and Cavalier. That ain't bad.
Card for Pithing Needle. Get the Pithing Needle, play the Pithing Needle, name the Wandering Emperor. Do it.
They know it's good. They've done it before.
Do it.
They understand the power of that line.
Needle. You're right there. No.
Hinge is
the
good.
Needle's 3 more to the left.
There it is. Yeah. Now we're talking.
All right.
And I'm just sure there's a temptation to name Teferi. And I understand that. I do. But I think Wandering Emperor is... Yeah, yep, 100%.
We're listening.
Perfect. Love it.
All right. Someone at Call Arena Dev, we need the Masterpiece Pithing Needle.
Right.
We got Ornithopter. Yeah. We need the alt art.
Yes. We definitely need alt arts of Pithing Needle. I think they should bring like the original from like Savers of Kamigawa. Then they should have, the Kaladesh. There was a Kaladesh showcase Pithing Needle, if I'm not mistaken. Let's get that on here.
Yeah.
We need all of those on Arena if they're not already. Because, yeah, those are just lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was the Kaladesh invention.
Yeah, so in this case here...
Gorgeous, by the way. Yeah. All right.
The Wandering Emperor is a good call with this, but in a pinch, even naming Castle Vantress, given the state of the board, is actually a really good call as well.
Yeah.
And this Pizzazhu is going to be huge now. Uncounterable, get a Cavalier back at instant speed.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Gonna grab Citadel, okay.
Oh, are both my predictions coming through?
Citadel
beats with a Pithing Needle animation?
That would be pretty fantastic. Yeah, here comes Nissa. Yeah, uptick on the Citadel, so we have an indestructible land, exactly like you called it, just like you drew it up. Yeah.
All right, when we get it marched. All right.
Yeah, march or settle is kind of all they... Yeah, they're digging for a march here, is my guess. Yeah, because those settles, I'm sure, came into the... Yeah, it came into the deck. So they didn't hit Massaggio yet. Portable Hole's actually pretty solid here. Going after the Needle. Ooh, okay. Yep.
They fear it.
With
the
good reason.
It presents. What they should have done there, Teferi on the stack, Pizzazhu the Pithing Needle, or the Portable Hole, Pithing Needle named Teferi at instant speed.
Oh, that would have been so good. Yeah. Exactly, because yeah, you give them one more land, but who cares? And they can't counter it because it's an activated ability. Yeah, so they just spent 5 mana on a permanent that does nothing. That would have been pretty sweet. But they are going with the Cavalier line, which is also pretty good. And with Portable Hole, by the way, I was excited about the Pithing Needle target. I was thinking they would have gone after the Citadel, but it does say non-land. So I was Pithing Needle was the only viable target, which, I mean, I'll say pretty good one to hit. Yeah, but here comes Cavalier.
All right. So we're hoping no settle in hand. A nice lethal attack. We crown mono green the victor, and we go eat some dinner.
Yeah, it is that time of day. Yeah, exactly. All right. Yeah, so Nissa has the ability to animate another land.
Basic Forest. Combos with Nissa.
It certainly does. Garenbrig as well. That'll do. So we have 11 damage represented. Azorius needs to have... Well, there's a Field of Ruin down there. So that can blow up the castle. Potentially. Saw it coming on the storm. Okay.
One card down.
Yeah, the Field of Ruin is still untapped. So they could animate the layer as a 2/2 here. Which, they see it. Or no, it could be significantly more than that because of Nissa. Yeah, it could be a 4/4.
Nissa's math.
Yep.
It's a little awkward with not tapping your castle.
Oh, 5/5. Yeah, that's right. Never mind. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it turns out Planeswalker passives are pretty good.
Are we going? Are we getting settled?
That's the question.
Are we getting settled?
If that's a settle, then blowout. If not, we have our victor.
It's over.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Mono green.
Now those were definitely some epic games, am I right? Big shout outs to Visetto for taking down the event with mono green planeswalkers. I want to give a big shout out as well to Hamhawks42 and MTG Joe for the phenomenal commentary in the top 8. I want to thank you, the viewer, for making it this far into the video. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, bell notification, like the video, and leave a comment down below will be greatly appreciated. And you can definitely check out all the tournaments that we host in the description below as well. We do 3 a month with cash prizes, so definitely get in on that. Stay cheesy.